Okay, sure. Okay. Welcome everyone to the day 2 of Jeevan Vidya workshop, this 8-day workshop. Thanks for joining this session. Yesterday we have started going through what this workshop is about, what are the contents of the workshop, what are we going to do in these 8 days. We have been seeing that. And like as let me open that screen so first we have seen like what we wish to be and then what we are right now, and this gap between what we are and what we want to be. We notice that there is a commonness between all of us, all, I mean, not just people in this workshop but across human beings, that we want to be happy individuals with happy relationships and peace around us and in harmony with nature. That's what every individual craves for as human beings. But we looked at there are a lot of issues that we have, and we noticed that physical facilities cannot fill this gap, and more rules and guidelines or constitutions and these things cannot fill this gap. What the proposal in the workshop was that right understanding is required. So we all have understanding to some extent as of now, but that understanding is incomplete and hence leads to a lot of issues. Like if we have don't have understanding about relationships, it leads to issues in relationships. If we don't have understanding about our relationship with body, it leads to issues in the health. Similarly, if we don't have understanding of nature, we exploit nature. So a right understanding is the key for living a happy and a prosperous life. Now, what is this right understanding and how do we achieve it? So we said a right understanding about every place we live in. So we live with ourselves in our thoughts, desires, aspirations, etc. So we need to have right understanding about ourselves. Then we need to have right understanding about our body. What is my role of body with me and how do I take care of it? Then we need right understanding about relationships. So day in and day out, we see that most of our issues are around relationships, not because we don't have enough money or enough resources, but because somebody said something, somebody behaved some way, or I behaved in some way and I said something. These are the most of the issues that we have. So right understanding about relationships is critical to our day-to-day living. Similarly, right understanding about society will help give some clarity on what my role in the society is, how can I be valuable to the society, and how can I add some meaningful work to the society. Similarly, nature. So when I'm living with nature, we day to day are intertwined with nature. The air we breathe, the water we drink, and the food we eat, the clothes we wear, everything that we use on a day-to-day basis is from nature. So we need to understand how nature works so that we can be in a harmonious part of nature. So we're talking about right understanding about everything that we live in, from the smallest thing, that's ourselves, and from ourselves to the nature. So everything we need the right understanding about. So we said this is what is the content of the workshop. So as in various days of this workshop, various dimensions of living of our life will be explained and proposals will be put forward in the form of right understanding. Now, um, so like we also said, let's have a look. We looked at trust. So trust as an example of how right understanding can significantly impact our life. So for example, this word trust, we may not even have defined about what exactly trust is. We use it day to day life. I have trust on you, I don't have trust on you. But at a deeper level, how do I look? How do we even define the word trust? We may not have looked at it. So in the workshop, we have proposed that there are two aspects to this, like an intention aspect and a competence aspect to the other human being. The intentions of the other human being is to make they want to be happy and they want to see us happy if possible. So the intention part, there is no doubt. Competence may vary. Just like I am able to keep the other happy sometimes, I am not able to make myself also happy, and the other also. Similarly, the other is also trying, because of lack of ability and competence, they may be able to make the relationships comfortable or not comfortable. So the proposal is that this intention, if we have the clarity about intention, then we don't get angry in our relationships. We don't, when when the other is not able to behave or perform in the right manner, we don't get immediately anger or frustration. We can deal with it in a more balanced way and respond to the situation in a more balanced way. If we are not able to do that in our relationships, that means we don't have the trust on the other. And this trust on the other is basically the assurance that the other wants me to be happy. So when I have this assurance that yes, this other, that is my parent or my brother or my wife or my kids, whoever the other could be, the assurance that they want me to be happy. Only want. We are not talking about the ability here. Yeah, they want me to be happy, but they may try and fail. They may do things that they think will cause happiness to me, but those may not necessarily cause happiness to me. So that way we defined the trust, and then we saw how trust, how we behave if we have the trust, whereas if how we behave if we don't have the trust. And we also noticed that this doesn't need any kind of resources to have the trust on the other. And like it doesn't need money to have trust on the other. It doesn't need any kind of physical facilities to have the trust on the other. Whereas we are not saying that competence is not important. Competence is important. The other may be actually lacking in competence and causing issues in the relationship, but we can address them at at the competence level, at the ability level, in a more balanced way if we have the trust on the other. So we will deal with the other in a more holistic manner instead of being just angry and showing our frustration on the other in the heat of the moment. So we said, we took this as an example to say that, okay, understanding about relationships, the change in the perspective, the change, if we don't look at it in the right way, can cause a lot of issues. If we look at it in the right way, can be very beautiful in the relationships. Many people will start feeling comfortable with us and they will start interacting. They will want to spend more time with us if we have the right feelings in us. So the goal is in us. That's the important part. We can't ensure the right feelings or right behavior in the other. The what we have in our control is our feelings and our behavior. So we are talking about the trust also about our feeling, the feeling that I have, that the assurance that I have, that is the feeling in me that the other wants me to be happy. So when we can only ensure the feeling in ourselves, so let's try to achieve that first before correcting the other. We will help the other, but before helping the other we should work on ourselves. That's a proposal again. All right, so then we saw the scope of living. Say we said that right understanding is important, relationships are important, and physical facilities are important. For human beings, all three are necessary and important. But if you look at the effort that we are spending, most of our day goes into basically earning more. That means earning more physical facilities, arranging more physical facilities for the comforts of this today, tomorrow, after 1 year, after one generation. Also, we want to ensure physical facilities. So we are basically busy in that accumulation aspect, and we tend to ignore the putting effort on right understanding and relationships, which are equally or if not more. So in the feedback, many of you have said 1 and 2 are more important than 3, but 3 is where we are spending most of the time and effort in. So what naturally what that leads to, this is basically lack of clarity in priorities, right? So we are saying 1 and 2 is important, but we are spending more time on 3. So our priorities got kind of messed up. um, so this scope is necessary. Definitely physical facilities are also important, equally important and necessary, but they cannot be complete for a human being. For a human being, the scope is bigger. That is, all three aspects are important for a human being. This was another proposal. Now we are saying everything is proposal, everything is proposal. How do I evaluate these proposals? So we are going to come to the process of self-verification. So first thing, I'm summarizing. So the basic human aspiration, we said, is to be happy and prosperous continuously, not one day, 2 days, but on a continuous basis. So if we summarize all the desires that we have, I want to be, let's say I want to get first in the class, then I want to get a good job, then I want to become so and so, a manager, a president, vice president, CEO, all that is basically ultimately to become happy. Similarly, when we go to some event to meet people, relatives, exchange pleasantries with them, spend some time with them, the goal is again being happy. Or we go to like shops, buy some things, or uh, and then basically we are trying to be happy by protecting ourselves, like with various facilities that we need, making ourselves comfortable. So the ultimate goal of every human being, like the basic aspiration, is to be happy and prosperous. Prosperous is dealing with the physical facilities part, happiness is dealing with the emotions part, like the self part. So we want to be happy and prosperous, not just for 1 day, 1 hour or moments when we watch a movie, or not sometimes when we spend some good moments with people, but on a continuous basis we want this. This is the basic human aspiration. And then we said, how do we achieve this? So let's call it as a program. So how do we achieve this aspiration? We said we need right understanding. So to have right understanding and to live with right understanding at all dimensions, at all levels of our life, like with myself, with my body, in relationships, in society, and in nature. So this is the way to achieve this goal. So the goal of every human being is to be happy and prosperous. And how do I achieve that goal? By having this right understanding and living with right understanding at all the, so wherever I am, basically, whether I'm at home, whether office, in the shop, on the road, or in somewhere interacting with nature, everywhere I need to live with right understanding. That's the way to achieve and right understanding and right feelings, having the right feelings in me and right knowledge in me. That's how I can be happy and prosperous continuously. Now, in this process, in how to achieve this, so the process of self-verification. So now we keep coming across so many proposals in our day-to-day life. This whole workshop also, we are putting forward so many proposals in front of you. But how do you evaluate these proposals? How do I decide whether this proposal is really the right proposal or not? So for that, this is the, we need to, there is a process called process of self-verification, because ultimately who is getting this right understanding? If this right understanding is in some book or in some other person, that's not going to be helpful for me. I need to have the right understanding. For me to be happy, I need to have the right understanding. So I need to verify it on my own right. So that means it needs to become my knowledge, not somebody's knowledge. Just because this workshop is saying it, or just because you read it in some book, doesn't make this doesn't change our life, right? So for our experience to become like happier and more comfortable, we need to have the right understanding. And for that, this process of self-verification is proposed. So if we have a proposal in front of you, first thing that we do is verify it based on your natural acceptance. Okay. So what we're saying is, somebody said like, um, let's say we need to respect. Okay, respect. So we check, is respect acceptable to me? Is it naturally acceptable to me? Yeah, it looks correct. So I'm comfortable when somebody respects me, and I'm comfortable when I respect someone. So respect is naturally acceptable to me. Okay. Then the second stage of that verification process is the experiential validation. That means when I live according to it. So we said, like, for example, you trust the other, that we saw the other example, right? So similarly, respect the other. So respect the other is a proposal, okay, in front of you. So when I live according to it, in behavior with human beings, does it lead to mutual comfort? Okay, that's the first check. Then in work with nature, does it lead to mutual prosperity or is it leading to exploitation? That's the second check. If these two tests pass, then the proposal is more closer to becoming a part of right understanding. Okay. So what are we saying? It is a two-stage verification process, a self-verification process. So on a day-to-day basis, we keep getting proposals. Do this to be happy. Do this, you will be happy. Like put a cable connection, you will become more happier. Buy this cell phone, you will become more happier. Or even hundreds of proposals. Behave in a certain way. Do tit for tat, you will be happier. Achieve this, you will be happier. So there are so many proposals that keep coming in front of us on a day-to-day basis. So I need to verify this decision. I need to take whether I should do that or whether I should not do that, right? So how do I decide that? So for that we are saying use the self-verification process. First, we are in the first step of the process. We are saying verify it based on natural acceptance. That means check for yourselves whether this sounds acceptable or not, right? If it's not acceptable, we are dropping it in the first place itself. If it is acceptable, then we go to the second phase, that is we live according to it. Like for example, yesterday the proposal of trust. We said, look at the intention of the other. It's to make you, I mean, they want us to be happy. Now, when we live according to it, the experiential validation. So I said, we go back to our own lives. When we are interacting with people, let's live according to this proposal. Okay, in our behavior, is it leading to mutual comfort? That is, I am comfortable and the other is also comfortable. When I have a feeling of trust towards the other, when I have a feeling of respect towards the other, am I comfortable? Can you put your response in the chat window, please? When I have a feeling of trust towards the other, or when I have a feeling of respect towards the other, am I comfortable? Yes or no? Yes, I'm comfortable. And when I have this feeling of trust, or when I have the feeling of respect towards the other, is the other comfortable? Okay, right. So mostly yes, but some of you have some doubts. So so this is called experiential validation. So when we live according to it, if we think that this is going to lead to uh, a mutually comfortable situation, then this is a proposal worth living. So it becomes something to try out. And if it is leading to this continuous basis, on a continuous basis, when this proposal is leading to mutual comfort and mutual prosperity, then it becomes a part of my right understanding. If it is not leading to mutual comfort, like for example, we heard from our elders that, respect the elders. This is what we heard as a proposal. Now let's take that proposal. Let's respect the elders. Is it naturally acceptable? Can you type in the chat window? Respect the elders is the proposal. Is it naturally acceptable to us? Does it pass the stage first one test? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, it sounds naturally acceptable. Yes, it is. It passes the first stage of verification. Now, when I go live according to it, okay, when I respect the elders, am I comfortable and are the elders comfortable? Both of us are comfortable. When I live according to this respect the elders, both of us, like me and the elders, both are comfortable, right? Yes. Now, what about the younger ones, or what about my peers of my same age? That has not been defined. So suppose because of lack of common sense or whatever, if I start exploiting like if I show, a sense of domination on the younger ones, will the younger ones be comfortable? Without showing respect, I'm showing a sense of domination on the younger ones. Hey, come here, hey, do this, or I show my authority over the younger ones. Are they comfortable? They may follow it just because they're they're like scared of us, or they are uh, they are afraid of us. But when the time comes when their physique goes bigger than us, then the rebel starts showing up, right? So maybe when they said respect the elders, they may have meant love the younger ones. That part became incomplete, but because of our interpretation, let's say dominate the others or compete with the peers, right? So we keep hearing like come first in the class, come first in the class, right? This is a proposal that is told to us on a day-to-day basis. You need to be first in the class. We tell this proposal to our kids also on a day-to-day basis. I want you to be first in the class, right? So when we are putting this proposal to the everybody, like come first in the class, is this naturally what happens to that kid who is internalizing this proposal? With the peers in the class, will he be sharing, or will he be working together with the peers in the class, or will he be in a sense of competition and try to not share and try to stay away from them? What will it lead to in the relationship of that child with the rest of the class? Is it good or bad, the relationship of that child with the rest of the class? Is it is it going to lead to a healthy relationship or an unhealthy relationship with the rest of the class, rest of the people in that classroom? Healthy or unhealthy? Can I see your input in your chat window? If that kid internalizes that he wants to come first in the class, unhealthy, right? He's always worried, oh, if I share my knowledge, that other person is going to come first, so I should not share my knowledge. He will be more protective. He's not going to share his knowledge and everything. So one proposal that if we give wrongly, saying that come first in the class, and if that proposal did not get verified by that kid and he has internalized that, he's living according to it, it is going to lead to so much discomfort to that kid all through the life. So it's very important to validate what we have in our mind already, what we have accumulated over a period of time, whether we have taken it from our parents or teachers or books or media, advertisements. A lot of places are putting these proposals in our head, right? So unless we validate these proposals, we are going like some of them may be good, some of them may not be good. And good in the sense like they're going to lead to happiness or mutual comfort, and others may not be leading to mutual comfort. So on a day-to-day basis, it's very important, whatever desires that we have, whatever we are doing, we need to validate them. We need to validate these proposals based on the this process of self-verification. Also, important thing is, you will notice that most of the times these are universal in nature, whatever gets through all these tests. That means they are independent of time, place, and individual. So that means respecting the other is valid today, tomorrow, 100 years from now. That the respect will be acceptable. Respecting the other is acceptable today, tomorrow, after 1 week, 1 month, any time in the past also. And it's also independent of place. So in India, it's acceptable. In Australia, it is acceptable. In Europe, it's acceptable. In US, it's acceptable. It's acceptable everywhere, this respect or to the others. Similarly, independent of individuals. So whether it's me, you, someone else, younger, elder, woman, man, everybody, it is acceptable to respect the other. So that's why these become the universal values. So these will usually be universal in nature. That's also another check we can put for ourselves in the self-verification process. Right. So all the proposals in this workshop also, please don't accept them as they are. These are for your own verification. So you may check at the acceptance level in this workshop. We are reflecting, oh, is this correct or not correct? You are verifying at the natural acceptance level, but actually, when you live according to it, you'll have to see whether it's leading to mutual happiness or not, mutual comfort or not. So what will be the alternative proposal to that being first in the class, right? The alternative proposal, for example, is you need to excel in the subject. You need to, let's say, get 100 out of 100 in the subject. That could be a target. So then what will happen? Everybody in the class, can everybody in the class get 100 out of 100? Is it possible? I mean, at least technically, theoretically, it's possible, right? Yes or no? Can you give in the chat window your answer? If we say the child that, get understand the subject well, learn well, so that you can get even 100 out of 100. Try to achieve 100 out of 100. Is it possible? Every child in the class can theoretically get 100 out of 100, right? There's no sense of competition. What happens in that case? Everybody may work together. Let's all work together. Let's all try to get this 100 out of 100. Let's all learn the subject well. That's at least possible. Whereas if we say come first in the class, only that's not possible, because the first cannot be like everybody is, at least not the way the system is designed. Uh, uh, they're not designed to. So theoretically, that's why I said, what if it's not competent? Yes, they may not be competent. I'm just saying theoretically, at least it's possible for everybody to excel in maths, or excel in science, excel in, if they, if they wish to. But the first thing, the system is not even designed to your first thing is you're making them compete with each other. They're pitted against each other wherever they go in their life. Later also, when they go to the office, they're pitting against, oh, if I get promotion, that fellow will not, I should get promotion first. That fellow should not get promotion first. If I share my work with him, if I teach him how to do this work, oh, he'll also get the promotion. I should not share my work. I've seen so many people, behaving with this thing, that they don't share their work. They're very protective about what they're doing. They don't want to teach this to the other and help the other also do it, because there is a worry that, I should get promotion. Everybody should notice my work first. So unfortunately, that has been ingrained into the minds in the form of proposals all through their life, that if you share the knowledge, or if you share this, then that fellow will benefit out of it. You will go back. So keep it with you, is what uh, that's what leads to these kind of things. So whereas excellence, you all excel in the math, it's possible. Somebody may be interested in math, somebody may not be interested in math. That's okay. But at least if they want to excel, everybody is like, uh, they can help each other, work together, and learn from each other. So coming back, so this is the process of self-verification. So we are saying in this workshop also, please don't accept anything as it is. We need to live according to it. These definitions of trust, sorry, I got muted. Yeah, so we're saying that let's verify on our own basis, and then if it is leading to harmony at all levels, so wherever I am, so the mutual prosperity part also, let's take an example. So for example, um, someone somebody is proposing that, smoke. So if a friend has gone out with another friend, he's saying, take a smoke, it's a very beautiful thing. Now that may because of the friendship or a peer pressure, the friend may accept it. But when living according to it, is it leading to mutual prosperity? So the mutual prosperity part includes our body also, right? Because its body is part of nature. So the health of the body is going to deteriorate. So when we live it according to it, this proposal, maybe temporarily it is looking good, but then the continuity, like in time and place and individual, it fails that test. So the proposal of smoke, so that thing, if we follow the self verification process, we can evaluate whether it is acceptable to me or not acceptable to me, and whether I should take it as part of right understanding or not. So these are few examples. Every day we come across thousands of proposals. Every advertisement is proposing something to you. Buy this, you'll be happy. Use this face cream, you'll be more happier. Or take this connection, you'll be happier. Buy this gadget. So there are hundreds of proposals in front of us. It's for us to evaluate these proposals on a continuous basis. Okay. So thanks for all your participation. If you have any questions, I can take 1 or 2 questions on this topic. I don't know if there is a raise your hand feature. Let me see. Yeah, please raise your hand. Yeah, Mr. Ram.
Now, I have a say when you mentioned about you gave an example of respecting elders as like say for example is it like naturally accepted. So the thing is, I had a situation in my life. I just wanted to share that. I don't know. I just wanted to know how to use that the self verification process in that situation. I'll give you a situation. The thing is, I was forced to marry like few years ago by my uncle, one of my uncles. Okay, and the thing is, at that time he didn't knew I was gay. So when I came out to him as gay person, naturally he didn't accept me, and also the respect that he had also was gone. So like say for example, I didn't propose him or anything, I just probably it might be a proposal for him. So the thing is, when I actually had to come out to him the reason why I don't want to marry, he completely blocked me out of his life. So how do you deal with this sort of like putting a proposal, or telling someone, say for example, let's say this is I'm putting a proposal to him that I don't want to get married and this is the reason, and that acceptance is gone, and then he didn't verify or anything, and based on his belief and religious upbringing and everything, he doesn't talk to me, he's blocked me and all. So what happens in this, in like in that situation when someone doesn't respect you, or like I'm okay to respect them, but they don't respect me in that relationship, what happens?
Right. Yeah. So very valid point, Mr. Ram. So the if you notice here, what we are talking about is our thing. Like even in the trust situation, we have said that we don't have any control on the feelings that the others have towards us. We have absolutely no control over that. Let's understand that first. And we cannot define the behavior of the other based on their understanding at this point of time. They are going to behave. It may be good, it may not be good. But what we have in control is our behavior and our feelings, right? So in this whole workshop, when we are talking about trust, when we are talking about respect, we are saying, is it possible for me to have the feeling of trust? Is it possible for me to have the feeling of respect towards the other? Right. So respect will define what exactly is respect and how can we have that feeling towards the other. In the third day, you'll get to that. So that's tomorrow only. So we will get to that part. But what we are saying, like I said, is I mean, let's not give our remote control to everybody in the world. So I go to an auto wala, that person doesn't behave with a sense of respect towards me. If I get, I mean, if I'm impacted by that, that means my remote control is with people, everybody around me. So I have no more control over how I feel and how I can never be happy because the people will be playing around with it. That remote control which I've handed out to the others, right? So we want the my happiness and my feelings to be in my control. At least that's what we are attempting to. We want that. We are trying to achieve that. So in that, we are seeing how we can achieve it. So whether, so this sense of respect towards the other, is it acceptable to me? First of all, having the feeling of respect is giving, first of all, comfort to me. So if I'm sitting with somebody whom I don't have any sense of respect, and that person is telling something continuously, but I have no feeling of respect towards the other, am I going to be comfortable in that situation or uncomfortable in that situation? We are going to be very uncomfortable, right? I don't have trust on the other, and that person is coming and telling a lot of things to me. Let's do this, let's work together, let's build this, let's build a big business, but I have a zero trust on that person, right? I'm going to be very uncomfortable. I may even feel waste of time. Why is this guy wasting time, my time, his time, right? If I don't have the sense of trust on that person, right? But and also the other also will can sense that if I don't have the sense of respect, I'm going to behave, it is going to show in my face, in my behavior, in my words. It's going to reflect in every action of mine, right? So that will show up to the other also, that I don't have the feeling of respect. That is going to make others uncomfortable. So what we are saying is, when I am living according to it, so I don't have the control over the other, that they should respect is acceptable to me. If they respect me, it will be good for me. But whether I should be dependent on the other person respecting me, whether I should be dependent on the other person trusting me, that's a question. That's something we have to look at. Is it possible for me to have this feeling of trust and respect irrespective of the other's behavior, irrespective of the other's feeling? So we'll see more of this when we go to the topic of relationships, but please reflect upon it. How do we want to be? Do we want to be continuously impacted by others behavior, or do we want to have some sense of control over how I feel, how I feel and live independent of the other's behavior? Okay, thank you. So any other questions? Anybody else? Any questions so far on what we discussed? So Mr. Ram, if yours is like done, maybe you can, like, your hand is still raising. So anybody else? Okay, so if there are no further questions, then I hope this process of self-verification is clear to you all. So let's try this verification process. There is no other easy shortcut to building the right understanding, except verifying them on being aware on a day-to-day basis, what I am doing, how I am behaving, what are my feelings. We need to be aware of that. That's the first part, and whether it's acceptable to me or not, and then consciously trying according to the proposals. Like I said, yesterday's example, when my friend did not wish me back, I was trying to be consciously validating the proposal. I put all my assumptions aside at that point of time about that person, that he's always like that, he behaves like this, he's not respectful towards others. I put all those assumptions aside, and then I went ahead and just casually asked. I said, I wished you, my friend, did you not notice it? So when he said that he did not notice it, all my assumptions got shattered. I had so many wrong assumptions. I was troubled because of these wrong assumptions. And so I started to gain confidence in the proposal that the intention of the others is to make me happy. They may be or may not be able to make me, uh, you know, uh, do that. So this will show up in so many forms. So I write an email to somebody, for example, and they don't respond for 1 week, and in this 1 week I start assuming, oh, this fellow, this person, we had so much good time, they completely forgot about all the good times they had. They're now so busy that they don't even have the time to respond to my email. All this for 1 week, we already keep thinking, we already keep troubling ourselves, and after 1 week, then we get a response saying that, oh, sorry buddy, I was on a vacation, I didn't get to check my email, so I'm responding now. Oh, then what happened to this whole 1 week of let's call it trauma that I had? Was all worthless, useless. If I was really so important, I could even have called. I sent an email, did you see or not? I could have asked. If I had the trust on the other, if I had the trust on the intention of the other, I could do that. But instead of doing that, what we do is, like, we wait for the other. Let me see how many days that person will take to respond, and all these kinds of things we start doing if we don't have trust, and cause trouble to ourselves. All right, so now let's go into the next most important part. So we started to we said we will go one by one and like understand right understanding about various levels. So about understanding myself, so let's get into the topic of understanding. Okay, so the proposal here is that human being is a coexistence of self and body. So what we are proposing in this workshop is that every human being is a coexistence of something called as self and a body. So from self to body, what goes is instructions, and from body to self, what comes is information. So just information is exchanged in the form of instructions and sensations between the self and the body. We are going to see what these two different things are. We may have looked at ourselves in this way or may not have looked at ourselves in this way so far, but uh, let's try to differentiate what these two types of things are. So first thing is the needs. Let's look at the needs of both these types. So what is the need of body, right? What are the needs of body? Things like food. Can maybe you can give your inputs in the chat window. So what are the needs of body? Can you give, yeah, nutrition, food, clothing, nutrition, any other things that body needs? Appliances, okay, gadgets, good environment, yes. So the air, water, etc. All these are needs of body. What are the needs of the self? What are the needs of self? Peace of mind, respect, peace, satisfaction, etc. Gratitude, right? All these are the needs of the self. So happiness, yes, very important. So we said that's the goal also, right? All these are the needs of the self. So do we see a difference between the two? Like the needs of the self are non-material things like trust, respect, peace, satisfaction, gratitude, good relationships, feelings, good feelings, etc. These are all needs of the self. Whereas the needs of the body are things like physical things, like material things, like food, clothing, nutrition, house, air, water. All these are the needs of the body, right? And in time, let's look at the needs in time. Are these continuous in nature? The need for respect, do we need it for 1 hour, 2 hours, or do we need it continuously? Similarly, happiness. Happiness, do we want it for some time, 1 moment, 2 moment, or continuously? So the needs of the self are continuous in nature, right? Permanent in nature. Whereas the needs of the body, are they continuous in nature? We need food. When do we need food? When we are hungry, we need food. If we can't continuously keep eating, right? So they have a time limit. They are temporal in nature. Clothes, we need some clothes based on the weather. So if it's very cold that day, we need a sweater. But if we can't wear that same sweater again in the summer holiday, summer, right? So similarly, when it's raining, we may need some type of clothes. So they are temporary in nature. They keep coming, keep going, right? So let's call them temporal or temporary. That's the in time. Then in quality or quantity. Sorry. So can they be measured? Like, can the needs of the body be measured? Like, I need how much, like 1 kg of food, or 100 grams of food, 200 grams of food. I need 10 pairs of clothes, 20 pairs of clothes. I need one phone, two phones, one house, two houses. We can measure, right? So these are measurable. So let's say they are quantitative. Whereas these things, feelings, can we measure them? Like 2 kilograms of respect or 1 kilogram of respect? We can't do that, right? So these are qualitative in nature. Yes, we can't measure them as such. So either I am happy or I'm not happy. right? Or I have a feeling of respect, I don't have a feeling of respect. But we can't like really measure them by any like means, like just like we can measure the food, clothes, and nutrition, we can't measure them, right? Now the most important thing is the fulfillment. So how do we fulfill these needs of the self? We said, right, the basic human aspiration is happiness. What's the program to achieve it? With right understanding and right feelings. These are what are required to fulfill the needs of the self. And what is required to fulfill the needs of body? Physical facilities. So all the material things put together, we are just calling it as physical facilities. So to fulfill the needs of the self, we need right understanding in ourselves and right feelings in ourselves, right? Whereas to fulfill the needs of the body, we need the physical facilities. Like, for example, I need food to fulfill the need of body. I cannot live without food. I need food. Similarly, I need air, I need water, I need clothes, I need nutrition, I need gadgets, I need the house to be able to live and all that. These are all fulfilled by the needs of the body. Now, the biggest, also let's write about some activities. So what are the activities in self? What goes on in self? Can you give some examples of activities that are going on in self? Thinking, introspection, yes. Desiring, feeling, right? Breathing. Oh, somebody said breathing. So breathing is going on in the self or in the body? Breathing becomes part of the activity in the body, right? So breathing is going on in the body, right? Similarly, like heartbeat, etc. These are also going on in body. Similarly, thinking, desiring, and yeah, introspection, like you said, all these are going on in the self. These are the activities that are going on in the self, right? So the main thing is this is a conscious con yes yes, and this is a type of consciousness, and this is a type of material that is physiochemical thing. So this is the difference between the self and the body. So we said the needs are different. So the needs of the self are things like happiness, feelings like respect, peace, satisfaction, gratitude. These are the needs of the self. The needs of the body are mostly physical in nature. So, and the needs of self are continuous in nature, and the body's needs are temporary in nature. Sometimes they come and they go. And the needs of the self, we said, are qualitative. Like we can't measure these things. Whereas the what needs of the body can be measured. Fulfillment wise, is that the proposal here is that the needs of the self can be fulfilled by having right understanding within us and having right feelings within us. Uh, and then physical facilities are required to fulfill the needs of the body. Yeah, so many of the activities involve sometimes both of them. Like for example, when I'm walking, right? Who is walking? Is the body walking on itself, or is the self giving the instruction to the body to walk? Are both involved? Can you type in the chat window? When we are walking, who is walking? Self is walking, or body is walking, or both together are walking, right? Both are walking, right? I mean, body cannot walk on itself. So the self is giving the instruction: put this leg forward, put that leg forward, turn around, walk faster, walk slower. All this is instructions from the self. So what we said as breathing and heartbeat, these are continuously going on in the body without much involvement of the self. If you want to stop, for example, I can stop breathing for a few seconds. That's possible. But generally, the self has given consent, keep breathing. So it's going on continuously. Similarly, thinking, desiring, these are all activities that are going on in myself. And most of the times, we said information is exchanged between the two. So they work together. Like when somebody comes and so let's say you eat something which is rotten, a food which is rotten, so immediately body gives this information in the form of sensations, the sensations that are generated in the mouth, that they go to the self, and the self knows, okay, this is a rotten, it does some calculations and analysis, and it decides, oh, this is a rotten food, right? We should not eat. So then it will give the instruction to body to throw it away. So the body throws it away. Similarly, when we are walking, like the self is giving in. When we are doing behavior, like when I'm talking, the self is what is having the content, what I'm going to talk, and the body is executing it. So the body is more like an instrument for the self, right? It's an instrument for the self. And who is doing all the things? Who is the doer? Who is seeing? So when I'm seeing, for example, when I'm looking at a chair, right? Who is seeing? The self is seeing, or my body is seeing? Can you type in the chat window? When I'm looking at a chair, who is seeing? The self is seeing the chair, or the body is seeing the chair? Yes, both are involved, definitely. So the picture of that chair is transmitted by my eyes to the self, and the self is deciding, yes, this is a chair, right? Ultimately, the seer is through the self is seeing, right? Similarly, it's the self's interpretation that this is a chair. And then who is the doer? Who is doing the instruction? Who is doing the things like talk this way, talk at this volume, don't talk too loud, don't talk too soft. Who is doing all these things? The self is doing, or the body is doing? The self is doing, right? So the self is the doer also. And who is the enjoyer? So when something happens, who is feeling happy and who is feeling sad, or who is feeling respected and who is feeling disrespected? Is the body feeling happy and unhappy, or is the self that is feeling happy and unhappy? The self is the enjoyer also. Body is merely transmitting that information to the self, and self is interpreting, this is a good thing to happen, this is a bad thing to happen, and the enjoyment is happening in the self. So self is very central to our existence, right? Everything we do, everything we see, everything we enjoy, everything happens by the self. Self is very important to understand. Now this one of the very important and things that gets missed out is this understanding about the fulfillment part. So I'll ask you a question. So you buy, let's say, shoe, right? There are two aspects to the shoe. One is the comfort part of the shoe. The other part is the brand part of the shoe. Who is enjoying who needs the comfort part of the shoe? The body or the self? The body, right? So if my leg size is 10, if you give me an 8 size shoe, then my body is going to struggle. Similarly, if you give 11 size shoe, I'm not comfortable walking also. So the body needs the comfort part. Who is enjoying the brand part of the shoe? Is the body enjoying the brand part of the shoe, or the self? The self is who is trying to enjoy the brand part of the self. Who's the part of the shoe. So what are we doing here by giving a branded thing or something? We are trying to fulfill the need of the self through physical facilities? Is it ever possible? So for example, you came to my home. Okay. I'm not I'm not having a feeling of respect towards you. Okay. But I'm giving you all the facilities. Okay, you can stay in that room. That's one of the best rooms that we have. Okay, you can go and have food. You know, the food is at the dining table. I'm behaving like this. I don't have a feeling of respect towards you, but I'm giving you all the physical facilities that you need. Is that acceptable to you? No, right? Yeah, it's not acceptable. I need the feeling of respect from. Now the next thing is I have a lot of feeling of respect for you. You come to my house, I talk very nicely. Please come, let's sit down, let's have it. Let's have we have It's been so many days that we spoke. We were having so much good time in our school days. That all this happened. Then the lunch time came. Still I am telling stories. Oh, that teacher, she used to shout at us. That teacher, we used to crack joke as a lunchtime is past. I'm already hungry. I'm not talking about lunch. Still I'm talking continuously about various things, but not even caring to offer you food or tea or anything. Will you be comfortable? No, right? Not comfortable. So I cannot fulfill the need of my body with the feelings. To some extent we can push it, but like body's needs cannot be fulfilled with. So I'm what was there at that time? The right feelings towards you. I was having right feeling toward you, but I was not offering the facilities that you need. And in the first case, what happened? I was giving you all the facilities that you need, but I was not having a feeling of respect towards you. Both are not acceptable, right? The needs of the body can be fulfilled through physical facilities, and the needs of the self can be fulfilled through right feelings. What we do, the biggest mess up, or the proposal here, please reflect upon this, is one of the most critical points in the workshop, is that we are trying to fulfill the needs of the self through physical facilities. Like for what we do, for example, when we are not happy, our mood is not good, let's say we go eat, right? The body is not hungry at that point, but just to satisfy the self we are eating. We do is Does that happen? Right? They're calling it as stress eating or something and all. What is happening at that point of time? The taste that we get from the food, we are trying to satisfy ourselves through the sensations. How long can we sustain it? How long can we keep eating? How long can we generate those sensations? After suppose your favorite thing is some XYZ sweet. Let's say your favorite is some kalakand. Okay, I'm giving you one piece of kalakand, you enjoyed it, it's good. Then two pieces, then you enjoyed it. After 5 pieces, you'll think, oh, that's enough, I can't eat anymore. Then I'm feeding you even more. What will happen? The body will go to an unbearable state. I can't eat it anymore, right? It becomes unbearable after some time. The most favorite thing that you had, your favorite sweet, a kalakand or a gulab jamun or rasgulla, whatever it is, your favorite things becomes the most unbearable thing if you keep pushing onto the self. Try to make it continuously happy by generating these sensations, right? Any sensation cannot, so there is a limit to how much you can entertain the self through the body. The right way to fulfill the need of the self is through right understanding and right feelings. But what we keep doing on a continuous basis, we'll look at various things that we do. Like, well, for example, we are watching a movie or listening to music. These are all sensations, right? I listen to music. My favorite song I put. I'm listening to the music. I enjoy it. I For 5 minutes, I'm able to keep myself happy with that song. What happens after that? You play it again. Try to play 100 times or 200 times. After a few days, you cannot listen to that song anymore. It goes to that unbearable state. Even your most favorite song. It same thing happens with any physical facility that you take. that you try to make it more continuous through by giving it more and more to yourself, it cannot. So that's not the right way of fulfilling the needs of the self. So we try to keep doing this. So when I buy a cell phone, I'm am I looking at the what can the gadgets do? They can enhance the capacity of the body, right? For example, I'm sitting in US, you're sitting somewhere else in the world. We are able to still talk to each other because of the technology and the gadgets that we have, right? But if I try to like fulfill the need of the self through these gadgets, for example, the cell phone, how the cell phone is, how it's comfortable to use, the features are useful to enhance the capacity of the body, like to talk to people at a distance place, to watch something, to learn something and all. But if you try to fulfill the need of the self, like for example, the brand of the car is for the self or the of the for the body. The comfort of the car from going from one place to the other is the need of the body. I cannot go 100 kilometers by my own, so I need a vehicle for transportation. But the brand of the car and how it looks and how it shines, all that is the full. We are trying to fulfill the need of the self through a physical facility, right? Similarly, the house, everything, all the physical facilities that we have, let's have a look at them. What are we using the physical facilities to fulfill the need of the self, or are we using the physical facilities to fulfill the need of the body? So now that we realize that physical facilities can only fulfill the need of the self, can we measure them, how many we need? Suppose we were using physical facilities to fulfill need of the self, right? How many pairs of shoes do you need? If you were using physical facilities to fulfill need of the self, how many pairs of shoes do you need, or how many pairs of clothes would you need for that? How many pairs of clothes can satisfy the needs of the self? No limit, right? Yes, no limit. So in any number of clothes you have, we will still feel deprived. I don't have that best, the latest model. Somebody will come in an advertisement, flash around, or some event happens, the celebrity is wearing a new dress. I will feel deprived immediately.
భగవాన్ ఇవన్నీ మళ్ళీ సుభాష్ మేడం అడిగి చెప్పించుకోవాలేమో.
Can you please mute? Yeah, thank you. So if we try to fulfill the needs of the self through physical facilities, we will feel the need for physical facilities is unlimited. We cannot measure it. Whereas if you realize that the physical facilities are required to fulfill the need of the body, can we measure them? How much food you need? Can you calculate? For per day, how much food you need? Can we calculate? If we are using food only to nurture the body, can we calculate how many pairs of clothes we need in a year for various seasons that we have and all that? Yes. Can you calculate how much water you need per day? Right? If you are fulfilling using physical facilities only to fulfill the needs of the body, it's measurable, right? For 1 year, for 10 years, how much I need, for 20 years, I can still calculate. Only if we realize that physical facilities can be used to fulfill the needs of the body. If we think that, oh, I need physical facilities for self, then we will feel ever deprived. So this brings us to the feeling of prosperity also. So we haven't defined the word prosperity, but prosperity is the feeling that I have more than what I need. Okay. The prosperity is the feeling that I have more than what I have more than required physical facilities. For this, to get this feeling, I should be able to first measure how much I need. Then only I know if I have more or not, right? And to be able to measure, I need to realize that physical facilities are for the body. Only then I can have the feeling of prosperity. Otherwise, how many ever crores of money we have, or how many ever pairs of shoes we have, or how many ever pairs of clothes we have, we will always feel deprived. We won't have a feeling of prosperity. And only if we have the feeling of prosperity, we can have a sense of sharing with the other. If I feel deprived, I can never share anything with the other, because I'm not sure whether this is sufficient for me itself, right? So only when I feel prosperous can I really have a sense of sharing. And how can I feel prosperous? Forget about sharing, forget about the other. First of all, I am not comfortable if I'm not feeling prosperous, right? I can never feel prosperous until I realize that physical facilities are for body, and they're limited in nature, the needs, and hence I can attempt to calculate it and try to arrange for what is more than required for body. So this can bring us a feeling of prosperity in the for the body. I mean, for us, not for the body. Like prosperity is a feeling in the self. Now, what about the self part? Are we doing things to fulfill the needs of the self? What do we need? We need the right understanding. For even for right feelings, also we need the right understanding. So how much effort are we putting in to improve our right understanding? Are we spending like 1% of our time in our life, 2% or 5%, less than 10%? Are we spending any time at all in understanding, improving our understanding? That's something for us to reflect upon. And what all can we do to improve our understanding? Because right understanding will lead to right feelings, and these two things are what the self needs. If I have the right understanding, then myself will feel comfortable. I know how to deal with situations. I know how to live my life. And right feelings. So when I'm interacting with people, I have right feelings. So I am comfortable. The other is also comfortable. So myself is happy and prosperous on a continuous basis. So yeah, please reflect upon whether we are putting enough efforts to fulfill the needs of the self, or are we putting more and more efforts for more and more physical facilities, because I have this assumption that if I fulfill the physical facilities, my needs of self are fulfilled. Is that an assumption we are living with? Because that's why we keep accumulating more and more, so that we think that with physical facilities, I can fulfill the needs of the self. The same thing, like for kids also, when the parent is looking at a kid, well, you may give all the facilities, all the toys, all the stationery, or all encyclopedias, everything facilities you can provide to the kid. But what's more important than the physical facilities is this right understanding that needs to be imparted to the self of the kid. Right. So we'll come to that in the relationships again, like when the parent-child relationship, when you see, we'll come. Any questions on this topic? Please raise your hand so that we can. Yeah, Mr. Ram.
I thought it would be nice to actually relate, you related the self with physical facilities. I think it would be nice to relate right understanding and right feelings with the body. I think that would give a much more knowledge of how we can actually look after our body, we can look after our needs and other things. I think that would be a nice. Is it good to compare like the full like is it good to fulfill the body with right understanding and feelings as well? We just told self right understanding and feelings are only related for self, but I think it is also important to have a right understanding and feelings towards our body as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So the right understanding is required as a need for the self, but ultimately, who is taking care of the body? Body cannot take care on it of itself, right? The self is actually taking care of the body. So we said that like apart from understanding as a part of understanding myself, I need to know about myself and my body also, and how body functions, what it needs, these food, clothing, nutrition, gadgets, air, water. Who is arranging for all these? The body cannot arrange by itself, right? The self is arranging everything required for the body. The self is doing everything that will keep the body healthy. Self needs to have the right understanding about the body also. So right understanding is about everything under the in this existing, not just about self. Self needs right understanding about body. Self needs right understanding about itself first in the first place. Okay, let's list down. We already actually listed, but let's list it down again. We need right understanding. What are the components of right understanding? About myself, I need right understanding. About my body, I need right understanding. About relationships, I need right understanding. About society, I need right understanding. About nature, I need right understanding. About this whole existence, I need right understanding. That's the what you call the scope of right. I mean, the expanse of right understanding is that much. It's not just about ourselves. We need right understanding about so many things to be able to live harmoniously with the rest of the world. So yes, to your point, we need right understanding about the body. We need right understanding about how much food that we need to the body, because we don't have that, unfortunately. That's why we are not able to keep our bodies healthy. We don't know how much we should feed the body. We don't know how to what activities we should put it to, what exercise we need to put it to, what kind of lifestyle we should take through our body. And because of lack of this understanding, we are not able to keep the body in a healthy manner. So definitely, yes, right understanding about the body is required to as part of the this right understanding that's mentioned here includes the right understanding about body also. Yeah, Mr. Keshu.
Good evening, Via.
Sorry?
Good evening, Via.
Sorry, I am not able to get your name, sir. Hello?
He's saying good evening.
Good evening. Okay, yeah, good evening. Please, I can hear you. Yes, go ahead.
Via, just you told us that we cannot calculate the pair of the shoes. So it is very uncertainty there. So I think we can calculate our all needs.
Yes, yes.
But
Yeah, I get what you're saying, sir. So
yes.
we said that we can't calculate the pair of shoes if you try to make yourself happy with a shoe, right? If you want to, if you're trying to keep yourself happy by wearing newer and different types of shoes, any number of shoes will not make yourself happy, because there will be another 100 plus one shoe that is released in the market and you will feel unhappy about it. Whereas if we see this shoe as the need of my body, my feet need protection, and hence I'm wearing a shoe, and I'm wearing a comfortable shoe for the protecting my leg, depending on the activity I'm doing. If I'm running, I might need a different type of shoe, and if I'm playing soccer, I may need a different type of shoe. That's okay to have like different needs, but as long as the shoe is fulfilling the need of the body, then we can measure how many shoes we need or how many pairs of shoes we need. But if we are trying to fulfill the need of the self, because need of the self is a continuous thing, we cannot fulfill the need of the self through a pair of shoes. That's what I said. And if we are trying to do it, what happens is, we have seen some cases, right? People moving from one place to other, they're taking their pair of shoes in flight, or they have 1,000 2,000 pairs of shoes. Still they would have definitely been feeling deprived. Even 1,000 pairs of shoes are not sufficient for them. If that's because most likely they are trying to fulfill the need of the self through a physical facility like shoe.
Okay, Via. Now I get it.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, if there are no other questions, then we'll go to the next topic. That is understanding what's going on in the self. So what we saw is, we tried to go one level deeper into what a human being looks like. So we said human being is a coexistence of self and body. There are two entities in a human being. One is a self, which is a consciousness unit, body, which is a physiochemical unit. These two are existing together, exchanging information between each other. So my body is continuously giving information in the form of senses like visual information, audio information, touch information, smell information. All this is going from body to the self. And then self is giving instructions to the body. You know, look there, look here, speak like this, and focus on this, walk here, go there. All these instructions the self is giving to the body. And we saw that the needs are different and the fulfillment mechanisms are different. And the biggest mess up that we as humankind we are doing is that we are assuming ourselves as body. We don't differentiate between the self and body. So I am not is not just body. We are more than body. We have something called as a self in us. So because of this assumption that mix up that I am the body, we tend to mix the physical, trying to fulfill the physical needs of self through physical facilities, and all that happens. But if we try to rightly understand what a human being is, the two different entities, needs are different, and the fulfillment mechanisms are different. So now we can focus on clearly separating fulfilling the needs. So the self will also be comfortable, body will also be comfortable. Most of the time, even the needs of the body are ignored. The shirt is very uncomfortable for the weather. I'm wearing a leather jacket in a summer just because to satisfy myself, to get a feeling of attention, or which we confuse as respect. I'm wearing a leather jacket in a summer on a 40 degrees centigrade, trying to satisfy the self. On one side body is not happy, the other side self also will not be able to be happy. So we are troubling the body also for making the self happy. So we realize that the needs are different and we need to cater to them in a different way. So the body needs physical facilities based on the environment, based on the various situations that the body is in, and the self needs right understanding and right feelings. Now let's briefly spend the next 15 minutes on what are the what is going on in the self. So in self, we have three major activities that go on in self. That is desiring, thinking, and selection. So these are the three main activities that go on in the self on a continuous basis. So whether I'm awake or whether I'm sleeping, continuously there is this activity going on. Like I desire, like for example, I desire to build a house. I desire to have a house. I have an image of it, how I want my house to be. If if it is a 2-bedroom house or a 3-bedroom house, I have a picture of how I want it, whether it's a villa or an apartment or individual house, what kind of things. So I have these desires in me continuously. I want to, for example, achieve so and such a job. These are all the desires that we have in the self. That's one continuous activity which is going on. Then I am thinking. So this is the analysis, where the analysis happens. Okay, if I need to achieve this house, then I need to have this much bigger living room, this big dining space, or these many bedrooms, these many bathrooms. Oh, minimum I need 2, minimum I need 3. I have some analysis already done for each desire. Or if I, for example, the desire is to become so and so, an IAS officer, or a businessman or an engineer or a doctor, whatever it is, then I need to, I have some analysis. I should pass my bachelor's with so and so, then I need to do this, then I need to pass this exam. So there is some analysis that I have done, and then I make choices in the form of selection, right? Like for example, I need to, this is a matter of taste. So I'll put this color in this room. I will put marble on the flooring. I will put I want these walls to be in this color. I want my dining table to look like this. So these are the various selections that we keep making. So let's take an example of food, for example. I have the desire to eat, and then I'm analyzing what to cook today for lunch or for dinner. I will prepare this for my family and all that. So that's the thinking part. And then selection is the choices that we make. Like I will make it spicy, or I'll make it bland, or I'll make it less spicy. I'll make it salty. All these selections that we keep making. Similarly, for example, I'm at a buffet. I'm making choices continuously. Like out of these 10 items that are there in the buffet, which ones should I eat? That's the selection part that I'm making. Okay, so these activities are always continuously going on within us, uh, and we keep making these desires, thinking, and selections in the self. Now, so this is like, okay, let's say this is the self, and then there is body. From body, we keep getting, like we said, we are getting continuously information in the form of sensations. Then we get from the self towards this instructions. So the self and body are interacting as a human being. Now, the important question that we can dwell upon in this next 10 minutes is these desires. Okay, where are these desires coming from? We have a lot of desires in us. Now, where are these desires coming from? Are they coming from, like, um, so from outside? So let's say somebody has told us, you need to come first in the class. So I have taken that desire into me. It's a input that came from outside. I have taken it without much verification or analysis, and it has become my desire. So that is one type of desires. We get these desires from outside. So somebody said that you become this software engineer and your life will be happy. So I have taken the desire to be a software engineer because I want to be happy. So these are desires which have come from the outside, and I've just accumulated them without validating or verifying them. Then there are other types of desires which are coming from the body. Like, for example, through sensations. So I see some, let's say, a very colorful and beautiful picture somewhere, like painting. I feel like buying it. So this is purely driven by the sensations. Like I smell something very nice. I'm on my way in a mall. I'm going somewhere. I smell some very nice smell. This soap, I want to buy this soap. This is so smelling so good. So these are desires purely based on sensations. Taking a desire based on the inputs from the body without even analyzing it, without evaluating it or anything. So based on sensations is one type of desires. And then there is a third type of desires. These are coming from my natural acceptance. Okay, these are the desires that have gone through the filtering of, like I said, the self-verification process. What have got filtered through the self-verification process and then remain in me, those desires are the third category of desires. Now it's up to us, like we can list down our desires and see where where these desires have come from me. Like we have so all our day-to-day activities we are doing based on desires only, right? We have desire, we are doing things to achieve these desires. Now it's upon us to verify if they have come from conditioning. It's okay, I mean, nothing wrong, not necessarily wrong that they have to be wrong, but important thing is we have to take these are because they are beliefs, right? You do this, you'll be happy. You do this, you'll be happy. These are beliefs. As long as they are not verified by myself, they will remain as beliefs in me. I'm not sure, it may be a good belief or not a right belief, but I have imbibed into me without any validation or verification. So now we have to take these desires which I have accumulated without any verification and now put them to this self-verification process to validate based on my own right whether they are acceptable to me or not. And when I live according to them, whether it will lead to mutual comfort or not. Like, for example, that desire to come first, if I go through this process of self-verification, then I can evaluate whether that desire is a right desire to have or not. If it is not, then I can attempt to drop it and look what is more naturally acceptable desire for me. Right. Similarly, desires based on like sensations. So I eat samosa. Samosa is my favorite. So every time I see samosa, even whether I'm hungry or not, I feel like eating it again. Or a chocolate, a dairy milk or something. I like it. So every time I come across here and there, I like it. So I just take it and eat it. So this desire is coming from the sensations. So the taste of that sensation is making me want more and more of it. whether it is the need of the body at that point or not, I'm continuously fulfilling or doing those things. So these are the three types of desires. We can look at our desires. We can try to evaluate what are my desires like. Are they based on conditioning? Are they based on sensations, or are they based on natural acceptance? So this natural acceptance based desires are the this is the space of right understanding. Also within ourselves, there is this inner, we call it, refer to it as inner voice or inner whatever. Deep down within each one of us, we have the ability. We just need to learn to access this is a proposal again in this workshop, that this whole thing is the self. It's not somewhere outside. Okay, if we access, the right understanding is within us. The natural acceptance is there within us. This process of self-verification is an attempt to access um, that innate nature. So this is what we are, the true nature. Uh, this part of the self can be conditioned. So somebody comes and says, all these people, these kind of people, they are bad. Somebody comes and says, and we have got conditioned over a period of time to, let's say, accept that belief that, okay, these type of people, they are bad people. So that can happen in this part of the self. But deep within, if we look within ourselves, we have the capacity which is continuously knocking and telling what is the right thing and what is not the right thing. So through this workshop, we are initiating just this process of trying to access that innateness within us, within every human being. So this is what is saying when we say, is respect acceptable to you or not? Disrespect is acceptable. Everyone is unanimously saying yes, respect is acceptable, right? Where is that coming from? If it was coming from the conditioning, then it would not have been so unanimous. It is coming from this innateness within us, and that's the reason we are able to commonly, like everybody together, we are able to say, I want to be happy, and respect is acceptable to me. These are all coming from this part of this space of the self. So we're with that, a little bit of introduction to the self. So I think we have a couple of minutes. Any questions on this? Please raise your hand if you have any questions on understanding the self. Yeah, please go. Mr. Ram, please go ahead.
So you mentioned that to have the right understanding, to have the natural acceptance. But when you mention, like, say, for example, for someone, acceptance of something can be different, and for someone that is not different. So people have different understanding. So how do you say it's right or wrong in that aspect? Actually, like, for me it might be right, for someone it might be wrong. I think that is right understanding. So when, like, I'm not taking, like, I go with them, but for someone else it might be the right understanding. So say, for example, I might have had a say say, for example, like, I might think red is a bad, unlucky color, okay, for example, and other people can think that was what my understanding is. Another person might think red is their lucky color, or red is the color of nature or whatever. So how do you actually deal with this conflict? Like, what is that right understanding of mine and the others actually?
Right. Yeah. So everybody thinks their understanding is right understanding. That's the biggest thing. It's my belief versus your belief. So my belief is better belief than your belief. So this is the whole fight that is going on. So as long as it's fight between beliefs, it can never get resolved. So the only way is, like we said, the self-verification process. If we try to use that self-verification process, which also we mentioned about the universality, just it's independent of time, place, and individual, right? So that me liking the red cannot be universal in nature. So then I realized that, okay, maybe this is just a matter of taste, my individual preference, but this is not something universal. So that cannot be, me liking red cannot be a right understanding part. It can just be a taste part, that red is of preference to me, of taste as selection. But at least we acknowledge that this is not something that is common, cannot be common ground for all the human, or between two people. So all the beliefs are here. So conditioning, beliefs, assumptions, we have taken a lot of them and put them into our desires. So they are all part of us. Yeah, I'm not saying they are not. And we all differ at this space. So in this space, we are all going to be different from each other. But in this space of the self, we are all going to be one. We are all going to be same and similar. So to understand this space and live according to it. So the process of self-verification is basically helping us take each of these beliefs and assumptions and validate them, filter them, drop out whatever is not in alignment with this space. Okay, whatever is not in alignment with reality, whatever is not in alignment with the right understanding. So right understanding cannot be different for individuals. That then it is not called as right, and we shouldn't call it as right understanding. It is some excess understanding and some wise understanding, and that can be different between each other. When we are saying, referring to right understanding, this is like a universal thing. It will be common between all of us, all human beings. So me liking red and you liking blue, that conflict cannot be resolved if it's a matter, because it's a matter of taste. So we have to go to the level of purpose then to resolve it, and to the level of feeling. So in deciding between the red and a blue, are we going to be in a sense of opposition, or can we still like red and blue with a feeling of relationship between both of us? That's where the question rises to at that point.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Any other questions? We have run of time, but I can take one question if there's any. Okay, if there are no more questions, then thank you very much for staying through the second day. It's very important that you finish all the days. So tomorrow, the important topic of relationships is starting. So it will be handled by one of our team members, Mr. Hari. So he's going to take you through the various feelings in relationships. Like we said, there are like 9 or various feelings in relationships. So what is trust, what is respect, care, affection, and how two individuals can interact with each other in a mutually comfortable manner. So he's going to take you through that session of relationships in third and fourth days. And after that, we have other facilitators who will talk about how to like the society part and the nature part, and then we'll go into the implementation. So all this knowledge that we are gathering, how do I go and actually live about my life using this knowledge? So those will be the last sessions. So thank you very much, and see you all tomorrow at the same time. Bye, and have a good evening, rest of your day.